Hello. This time I'm talking about way to find a promising stock, and this slide is generated by Claude. So yeah, it's quite interesting actually. Okay, so let's get started. I think there is a free way to um, find a promising stock, which I mean it at least doubles in the following years. And it is actually quite complicated question. And basically, there are two approaches to tackle on that. The first one is find a momentum stock. I mean, like something like um yeah, some like semiconductor stocks, which is rising rapidly, or finding undervalued stock and just hold it. And obviously, I prefer the latter way because the former is much more difficult to, you know, expect. Okay, so this slide says the valuation skill is useless if you never encounter good businesses. That's right, right? So even if you have, valuation skill, it's useless until you find a good business which is valued, which is undervalued. So, okay, how to find it? I think there are three ways to do that. The first one is just waiting, right? And the second one is screening proactively. And the last one is scanning every company in the market, right? And the first one is like, waiting for the great company to valued, undervalued. And that happens actually occasionally in the market. Um, you know, yeah, like this describes, even well-known great businesses go on sale. NVIDIA alone has offered much such windows in the last 5 years or more than 10 years. So, and I think there is a slight way to tackle on that. That is following the news because media companies are motivated to you know telling the negative story, which is moderately negative, and as if it were catastrophic, right? So yeah, you can always consider if some negative news is really that negative or not, and mostly not actually. So even if you bet against the negative news always, I think the probability is not that low because the media has a bias to say something negative too negative. And the second way is just screening, right? Which includes the some momentum screening or fundamental screening, or finding a stock in the some stock focused platform like Seeking Alpha or something. And what I prefer is go first with momentum, then go look into fundamentals because momentum is what is happening right now in the market. So there's something, and then you can look into fundamentals to determine if we have the opportunity to have capital gain in the following years, right? So I don't think the opposite way works. So mostly you can just go after the momentum, or you can go against the momentum, right? If the stock is going really down, and you can bet against it. Okay. And third way is scanning everything, right? And this is something Warren Buffett said, like start with A. So you can find some, list of public companies and just look into A to Z. And that is the third one. And I think this is the most preferred way for serious investors. But as actually, obviously, most people doesn't have time to doing that. So, so if you are busy at work, the only, you know, practical way is just waiting and following the news until something wrong happens. So even in the last 2 years, we had lots of chance opportunities, right? When the Trump came in 2025, in April, the stock went down dramatically. So that was a chance, right? That was the opportunity. So you actually don't need to do anything until something happens. But it is actually not that easy to invest in that occasion because when something happens, it looks like the stock price goes even lower, and it can. So nobody knows when is the bottom. So you just need to have something in order to value the stock. So that's the valuation thing. As long as you have a valuation method, you can you know you can tell if the stock is undervalued. So that's the important point. And you need to have the list of the great businesses. That's something you need, right? And the second one is screening. It takes a bit more time, but still useful because you can tell what is going on in the market. But I don't think this is the you know most effective way to have you know um, making a remarkable return. And I think the last one is actually the best way when it comes to um, you know finding good promising stock because the, think about it. Why the stock is undervalued? Mostly because it is not known to many people, right? So you know media companies deal with interesting topic like Nvidia or Microsoft Alphabet or something like that. So most companies which is not that famous are not shown on the media. So you actually need to scan that way. So yeah, that is something I've been thinking about, and I think this is true. So in the future, I may organize the way to do the A to Z reading, scanning, right? Basically we have AI to do that because and we can create a list of every companies in the public market on the spreadsheet, and we can just delete the roads which is you know we never invest in the future, and we can take notes on every rows as well, right? And that is something I'm thinking about as a practical way. But yeah, this is the end of this video.